Hi, my name is Kevin McDonald, and I'm declaring my independence. Independence from what? Why, negative thoughts and energy, of course. Chief among them, hate, division, and fear. You see, I know that we're all one, and together we can solve any problem, save our planet and each other. Please, join me as we come together as one and choose a better way to be. So now, let's begin with my independence report. And welcome to my Independence Report. I'm sitting here in Seattle, Washington, and when I started this today, it was in the mid-70s. Now it's 86. It's supposed to be 100 tomorrow and 115 on Sunday, which we've never had here. And as far as I know, in the history of, well, I've only been here 63 years. So in the history of my life, I've seen over 100 like a couple of times, but 115 I've never even come close to seeing. And the person that I'm having on with me today for this hour, her name is Dana Quade, and she also lives here. And I'm going to ask her, first of all, have you ever seen 115 here?
I have not.
It's just crazy, amazing, and stuff. So I'm going to have to hide, or I'm going to melt. But which is okay. Now, we're going to spend the next hour talking with Dana. Dana is a healer. She is a massage therapist. She is an author. She's written a book, and the book is called Doing the Thing, or doing, not the thing, but that's my interpretation. Doing the Thing. Yeah. Well, but I don't want people to think that it's THA and, the thing. It's Doing the Thing. And she lives right here, and she's got a loyal following of people, and she works with people all the time. She also does something that I've wanted to talk to somebody a great deal about, and that she also works with hospice. And we're going to touch all of that during the course of this hour. So I hope that you'll stay with us for the entire thing. But first, Dana, welcome to the show. How are you?
Thank you, Kevin. I'm great. I'm glad to be here. Thank you so much for having me on here.
Well, you're more than welcome, because I believe that you have the ability to help people, and that's why you're here, because you do healing work. But first, let's talk about your authorship and the book Doing the Thing.
Okay. What would you like to know first?
What is the book about? It's a great title, but it's a little nondescript.
It is nondescript. The book is about how self-love can cure all. And to help help all of us understand what doing the thing is, I'm going to do a reading that I hope will help everybody get a better understanding for it. Are you ready?
I am ready, and I'm taking notes.
Okay. Okay. So this is Rachel's story. The book was inspired by having a conversation with a good friend. And then if you want to ask me a little bit more about that when I'm done with the reading, I'll expand on that.
Okay.
But here we go with Rachel's story on page 4. One sunny day, a close friend with spouse trouble confided that she had tried everything she could think of to make things change in her relationship. Being angry didn't work. Neither did being passive, reasoning, or ignoring. What an impossible struggle to change something we have no control over or power to change, others. Rachel and her husband did not see eye to eye, and they weren't on the same page at all, but they did have love to motivate them in togetherness. All right, so what to do? How can we resolve this? This dilemma reminded me of a solution that my husband and I formulated, discussed, and used many times. If you don't know what the heck to do in a conflict situation, tend to your own needs first. To shift the focus from what is going on around you, which is external, to what is going on inside you, which is internal. That same sunny day, Rachel and I gave a name to this simple yet profoundly effective concept, and Doing the Thing was born. Here's how it helped Rachel. She took a deep breath and a step back from the problem. Then she began to do the thing by focusing not on what she wanted, needed, and expected from her husband, but on what she wanted, needed, and expected from herself. When she stopped focusing on what to do about him, she stopped a pattern of frustration, the frustration that comes with trying to control something we cannot. A word that aptly describes this is struggle. Her next move was to shift the focus of solution to the one ultimate thing that in this life that she could control, which was herself. What did she want, need, and expect for herself? What was her part in this situation? Asking these questions of herself made her realize something surprising. She really didn't know herself all that well. My friend was and is not alone. We all contain so much to uncover and discover about ourselves. By taking some time to know herself better, she was able to start answering her own questions. She was able to give herself more of what she wanted, needed, and expected. This increase in self-awareness increased her self-sufficiency and independence, which took pressure off her spouse and their differences. The decrease of pressure resulted in a decrease of emotion, bringing more calm and clarity to the situation. This allowed both of them to cool down, come together in a different, more positive way, and sort things out together. So understanding the principles of doing the thing and applying them on a daily basis not only help us live more productively and content in the minutes of the day, they also provide a stable foundation for long-term health, happiness, and success. In my vision of world peace, each one of us starts to find, cultivate, and nurture the qualities inside us that we want to experience in the world around us. This is our chance for heaven on earth.
Well done.
Thank you.
Done. That's when you're having difficulties with your spouse, and I've been there. It's really hard to be able to step back and then to look at and to be self-reflective to that point and doing that.
Yeah, it's tricky.
Is that a dog drinking?
Yes, that's my dog drinking water.
I thought that was. What kind of dog do you have?
She's a boxer.
Oh, what's his name?
Her name's Fritzy.
Tell Fritzy hi for all of us.
Everybody says hi, Fritzy. Maybe we'll have you on next time.
Exactly. No, but taking care of yourself first is paramount to leading a healthy life, isn't it?
It is. And another thing about the book, the subtitle is How Finding Your Shine Will Brighten Our World. So that's important because it's not just about you being selfish and doing whatever you need for you. When you are constructively selfish, you're making everything around you better by tending to yourself, doing what's right for you. It builds your integrity, it builds your health and well-being, and it ripples out to everybody.
People get mad and people get angry because they're either fearful or they've got hate in their heart because of their fear, because they don't need to be angry. If they believe that they could take care of themselves and they were feeling good about themselves, don't they have a different mindset? Doesn't anger kind of not enter the picture as much?
I would agree with that. The shortest chapter in my book is entitled Armor, but it is probably one of the most important chapters. May I read that now to help us?
You may do. Dana, this is your show, and this is from Doing the Thing. This is
Okay.
Dana Quade, and yeah, please do, because this is learning how to love yourself is a concept that on the face of it seems easy, but it can be the most difficult thing that we have to do because there's lots and lots of layers that goes along with
There's
that.
lots of layers like an onion. And so the chapter I'm going to read is entitled Armor, and it helps explain why we have so much trouble and even why sometimes we have trouble with pleasure. So chapter 4, page 20. Armor. Why don't we know who we really are? Why aren't we everything we want to be? What is in the way? The concept of armor was developed and studied extensively in the work of Dr. Wilhelm Reich. This term aptly describes what is in the way. A very simple explanation. As babies and children, we toughen ourselves in response to emotional and physical stressors around us. This acts as a protection to help us cope with growing up. The problem is, as adults, we no longer need this protection, but the armor is still there. Holding on to and carrying it around becomes habit. As time goes on, it begins to feel normal. When the armor has been with us for a long time, it covers up our core and we forget the true essence of who we are. We think the armor is us. Have you ever been doing so well that you somehow sabotaged yourself to get back to the feelings you're used to? Or when you are simply feeling content and you think of something that brings you down, that's armor. It's no longer protection. Armor is keeping what you don't want in and what you do want out. Now it acts as limitation. It shows up in your body as tension, pain, and disease. It shows up in your psyche as mental and emotional suffering or simple discontent. You can read the most inspiring words, attend motivational seminars, and get fired up. You can learn all the world's greatest secrets, but if you don't clear out the armor in your way, you tend to stay stuck. And then it goes on to talk about how we pass that on to our children.
It's a 7-generation cycle.
Yeah.
Which is, it starts and then it goes to the father, to the son, to the grandson, to the great grandson, and it just continues because that's what everybody knows. And
right.
Somebody's got to break the cycle.
Yep.
And that book, your book, Doing the Thing. By the way, did you ever watch the movie City Slickers?
It's been a long time.
Billy Joel. Gosh, Billy Crystal was in that, and one of the themes of the movie was, what's the secret to life? And it's just one thing. Just one thing. And so they play that throughout the entire movie, and then it comes to pass that you have to decide what that one thing is. The secret to life is what you decide it is.
Right.
And so I got that from your book is kind of, that is the theme, is that you get to decide what is going to make your life worth living, but getting there can be very tricky sometimes, isn't it?
It can be tricky. Yep.
How do you do it?
I've had plenty of practice.
Well, any of us that have been around the planet for a while have had lots of practice with that.
That's right. Yes. And one of the things that, I've gone through periods of time when I've dealt with not just anger, but rage. Mm. And so I found a process to go through, and it was actually through the Reiki therapy that which is it's a very eclectic therapy, but it's a body mind therapy that helps you understand the armor and how to take it off gradually. And so I feel for people that don't have the tools to do that. And that's part of why we see so many mental health issues.
Now, what's the name of this process that you're talking about again?
The process, it's not very well known, but it's called Reiki therapy. And it was started by the Dr. Wilhelm Reich that I mentioned in the chapter on armor.
And how does it work?
It works as far as it's a physical and mental, emotional therapy where you're dealing, like Reich had a way of looking at the body of armor rings, like this would be the eye ring. And so eye health is so important. that the therapist would literally push into the muscles and elicit the emotional reaction, or so you're talking, you're doing psychoanalysis and the body work at the same time.
Oh, gotcha. Is it kind of like, are you familiar with what EFT is?
Not so much, but just a little. Is that the tapping?
Yeah, that's very good. See,
Yeah.
you know
A
better
little bit
than I do. But that supposedly it releases releases the pressure points of the body and can help you feel better. And I don't know much more about it than that.
Okay. Yeah. This was really intense. And the reason that I did it is I knew that I knew we were going to get married and have children, and I did not want to continue the chain of armor from my life and my childhood.
Right. And so now, do you teach this, or is this something you took and you've learned it and you use it?
I use it practically every day. And I will, I share what I call first aid techniques from the Reiki and therapy. I share those with people all the time because they're simple. They don't cost much money. They're techniques that are so simple and helpful, and they don't cost money.
Oh, see, now there's a good combination.
Isn't that great?
They're helpful, they're awesome, and they don't cost much money. That's good, because I always hate we'll heal you, but it's $5,000. But no, that's awesome. So now, how long did it take you to write the book?
So I love this question because I did not set out to write a book. After Rachel and I had that discussion that day, for 7 years, I got information from just information came to me, and I started writing it down. And I thought, well, that sounds sort of important. Like, I'm going to write that down. I'm not sure why. And so that process lasted about 7 years. And people started saying, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "I'm not really sure." And even my son was like, "Mom, you're going to write a book." And then what I did is I took all that, just like I wrote it down on cards. I wrote it down in my journal. I'd keep something by my bed in the car when I'd pull over and write whenever this information came to me. And then one day I decided to sit in my living room, and I separated it into piles of ideas and themes. And I looked around at the piles around me, and I'm like, those are chapters. So this is a book.
Very cool. So you were getting what? Now we had a show on Tuesday, and Coriel Kramer, who is a psychic medium, talked about divine downloads, and you were getting this divine download that they were sending you when you could absorb it, because they wanted you to write this book, or somebody wanted you to write this book.
Yeah. And I honestly believe that the book was a little bit ahead of its time. Now its time has come. It's so like, let's get with it. But what I did is I took all that information, and then I added some stories from my own life that fit in. And so it became what it is.
And when did the book come out?
It was launched in 2010.
But it was a little ahead of its time, but I think that we are changing. We're becoming more aware, and we're becoming more interested in trying to figure out how we can live life more authentically and better. Do you agree with that?
Pardon?
Do you agree with that?
I agree with that. I agree with that completely. I think people are so tired. Well, and this one gal on Facebook, I thought she said it so well from a self-help book standpoint. She said something like, "I'm so tired of books or advice that are trying to tell me to be different than myself. And my book is trying to tell you how magnificent you are, and you can be more of yourself if you if you want to be more of who you really are and get to that wonderfulness of it, you can do it.
And your book, is it kind of a workbook too?
It could turn into a workbook for somebody that wanted to take it to that level. I have had people, trying to get me to write a workbook to go with it, which would be
See?
really.
I knew that idea came from somewhere else.
So, yeah, that would actually be a really cool thing for people to turn it into a workbook.
Yes, or for you to write the workbook, because I'll tell you what, Gary Zukav wrote a workbook to a Seed of the Soul, so that people could take the information that was contained within that, and then utilize it and write it and journal it and to work with it, and almost on a daily basis. So that's your next project.
Okay.
You got till September 1st. And then we'll put that out. But
Okay.
but no, I think it's great, because you have to learn self-love is the hardest, but the most important thing about your life, isn't it?
I would agree with you. I would agree with you. I wrote something on one of my index cards.
You're an index card person.
Well, I can do this. It's really, it is the most important thing. And here's I think what has so gotten in the way is that whoever taught us, who's out there saying how worthy we are, and how, you were born a pure being of love and light. And that's where you're starting from. That's what I honestly believe. Unfortunately, so many of us were told the opposite, is you start out no good, and then you just have to try to make it better if you can. And
No, I was just going to say, at a previous podcast, we were talking about the concept of original sin.
mm-hmm.
And when you talk about original sin, you're talking about the fact that that you're starting from the premise that we are all bad, and that we are all evil, and we are all sinful. So that's the first message that you get when you're a kid. And like me, when I was going to church, that was the first message I got, was that you are not good enough. You are it's sinful, and you are evil. And so to recover from that, to believe that you are good, and that you come from God, and you are part of God, and that you're of light and love, and you have got all this potential, and you can do anything in the world you want to do, that just never came up.
Right. And that, like you said, to have to get over that right there is a big layer of armor, that all of a sudden, I can't, how can I see past that if I started out so young being told that? It's like, that's pretty hard to get over.
And especially when it's reinforced all the time.
Mm-hmm.
When that is the way it's supposed to be. It wasn't until I was, in my early 40s, when somebody said to me, you are we all are inherently good, and we are all inherently part of God. And it was like, wow, now there's a concept, because we've been told that we're less
Right.
than. And
Right.
it's important in the work that you're doing. It's important for you to let people know that you are good enough, that you can be who you really choose to be.
Right. Well, and here's the cool thing is, if you really, really know that and believe it like I do, and you come to people in a presence with that kind of projection, Like that's when I try to help someone, whether it's hospice or whether they come to me because they're trying to get relief from pain and suffering. I'm coming to them with this, I see the best in them, because I know that that's true. You know, that thing you just said about how we're born. I come to them knowing that. And so it's like I'm holding a template of the very best of them in front of, just in my whole being when I work with them. So I'm not looking at their symptoms and feeling, you know, like trying to like feel bad about all the symptoms they have or the problems. I'm looking at the best in them. I'm looking at the solution. And it's just amazing what a difference that can make.
Well, you talked about it with me, and I've been thinking about it ever since. In that we were talking about hospice and the fact that you work with hospice, and we'll get to that in just a minute. But one of the subjects that came up was I have a friend whose wife had brain cancer, and so she went into hospice, and she came out of hospice, and went back home. And I said, "How does that happen?" And your answer was, and I've been thinking about it ever since, which was, um, sometimes because they get the care that they need, the love that they crave, and the attention and everything, sometimes that can heal them or make them better so that they don't need to be at hospice at that moment. And
Right.
I thought that was a particularly heartfelt and a wonderful thought, because it's amazing what we can do if we just learn to care for one another.
Exactly. And that's another reason why I love the hospice program. If people are kind of like, oh, well, I don't want to do that because that's like a sign that my loved one is going to die. And so I don't want to face that or talk about that or go there. It doesn't have to, it's such a great program, no matter how you look at it, whether they are transitioning peacefully or whether they're graduating off hospice. It just, you've got that extra care and the love, and it does make a difference no matter what, even if it's just, a daily quality of life.
Absolutely. Now you've been a hypnotherapist. Now you've been a massage therapist for 28 years.
Right.
How did you get started with that? And I assume you must love it.
I love it. I did medical massage for 20 years, helping people heal from auto injuries and L&I injuries. And I'm retired from that. I'm retired from deep tissue massage. But I got into that actually because the Reikian therapist that I told you about he ran a massage practice and he wanted somebody to work with. And so I was at the point where I'm like, I'm not really sure what I want to do. Maybe I want to be a physical therapist. He's like, nope, you want to be a massage therapist. Well, that happened to fit perfectly for me. I love people. My sister, when she found out I was going to be a massage therapist, she said, well, you're going to be touching strangers. And I said, well, once I get to know them, they won't be a stranger. So, yeah. And then about 8 years, I kind of made a shift from the medical massage to the hospice work. I still do healing massage. If someone wants to come in for healing massage or relaxation, I'll do that too.
Now, do you do you use Reiki in the work that you do?
I do. That's a great question. When I found out that the company that I'm on contract for, in their comfort therapy program, they offer Reiki massage and Reiki, among other things. And so I chose at that time to become a Reiki master. So, which is great because my work over the years became more spiritual in that I was doing energy work anyway.
Right. But it worked out really well because when you put Reiki in combination with therapeutic massage, it can have really some pretty dramatic effects, huh?
Exactly. And some of the people that are really sensitive to touch, I will do work in their energy field, and they can handle that. I've even been worked on by other therapists where they'll come off the body, work in my field, and I'll feel it even more dramatically than if they're working on the body.
I've had that experience myself.
So,
So which is because that is your energy field that it surrounds you, and
right,
it is all right there, and that's what Reiki works with, and
right.
stuff like that. Now, what is the difference between the massage therapy that you're doing now and what you were doing before?
What I'm doing now is so the treatment work. What I was doing before, the treatment work had to do with maybe some deep tissue therapy, maybe some ice massage, and just with the focus working with insurance companies, doctors, and lawyers, and the whole focus is healing. And now the focus is relief and comfort. Unless I do have a few patients that come to me for what I call do the thing healing. And that's, that kind of person, I might give some of my Reiki and first aid tips to. I might be working with them in a different way.
Ah, you just piqued my interest. Doing the thing healing. What is that, and what does that entail?
Okay, so that entails something like a friend who's now a friend was recommended to come see me by a naturopath. And the naturopath said, this gal has so much going on. Let's see what you can do for her. She had so many symptoms that I did that thing I told you where I didn't focus on her symptoms. I held a template for the best in her.
Right.
And so the whole idea is I'm going to work with you with that in mind, and we're going to probably work in a different way than you've ever been used to, in that I may tell you to run cool water on your arms if you're starting to get a headache, because that'll help bring the symptoms down. I may recommend that you stomp your feet if your heart rate is getting too high. And it's like, you got to do this carefully. You have to do it knowing the person, getting to know them, what's going on with them. But it's just looking at the body in a different way and taking all those different things into consideration in helping the person maybe be able to relieve some of the armor, relieve some of, like, if your heart rate's high because you're stressed, and if the stress has to do with anger or fear, then we will look at ways to try to relieve some of that before we do anything else.
Gotcha. So that can be therapeutic all by itself, right?
Right. And the person that I mentioned that was she was kind of like my first do the thing healing patient. She learned that her heart would start to race because her energy would come up. It would hit some armor. We've got to deal with that armor. And if she's able to get some of the emotions, some of the fear or anger out, then all of a sudden the heart rate goes down.
Oh, wow. Without medication, that would be cool.
Yes.
That really is cool. So, if Dana, if somebody, you're local here in the Washington area, but if somebody wanted to contact you, number one, to get your book, which is called Doing the Thing, or number two, to work with you, how do they do that?
So my book is on my website, and the website is doingthething.com.
That's pretty easy. I can even figure
That's
that
pretty
out.
easy. The Kindle version is on Amazon. And I can, let's see. I think the best way to contact me would be through my website.
Awesome. So we'll encourage people to do that so that they can get the book, because to learn how to self-love and to take care of yourself before you can, it's like that old thing where when you get on an airplane and they say if the air mask drops down, put it on the small child next to you put it on yourself first and then put it on the small child next to you.
That's on my card.
Oh,
yeah, that is a perfect example of doing the thing, is take care of yourself first, because if you're not taking care of yourself and you fall over, you can't help anybody.
Then all is lost. And so you need to take care of yourself first.
Right.
And so I want to transition that into, you work in hospice, and that transition, that taking care of yourself first is really, really important because of the work you do with people that are dying, I would imagine.
Well, with anything, if you're not grounded and present and feeling good, what can you bring to the table?
Oh, exactly. By the way, we may be about to do something that we've never done here before, and we can give it a shot. If do you know who Jeannie is?
I do, yes.
And she says that she may have been referencing me, and I would like to describe what happened. I can actually bring her onto this. If you want to try that and see if we can get that done?
Sure.
Let's see. So, what I need is an email address, Jeannie, that I can send an invitation to you that you can come on to the podcast with us, if you're amenable to that, or we can just have you do it through chat. It's up to you. But I suspect that your story is a little bit more involved than to do through chat. So, would I be correct, Dana?
I don't know. I have no idea what she's going to say, but she has a lot of great things to offer and to say.
Okay, so hold on. Let me do this. Oh no, that won't work. Go like that.
I wondered what that was popping up on the screen there.
Yeah,
there we go.
Let's see, Jeannie. Okay. Let me do this, and we'll go email. Oh, we are testing my powers here, so
that'll keep you on your toes, won't it?
Oh, you have no idea. Jeannie at msn.com. I'm hopeful that this is correct. No, wait a minute. I screwed that up, I think. Jeannie. Let's try that again. Oh, send. Okay. She's gonna have to let us know whether she got it or not. Let's see. Send. Oh, it failed. The address was not found because I typed in the wrong address, obviously. Hold on just a second. I'm going to do this again. Let's see. So, copy that, and it's no, Jeannie. We're gonna make this work. I'm now invested in it. So Hold on just a second, and I'm going to send it to you this way. Just for fun. Never done this before. So let's see. Compose. And okay. Come in.
Hello. Did you hear the knock on my door?
I did. Okay. So Jeannie, I just sent that to you. And I'm hopeful that you're going to get that. And then you can just click on that. And if you have a camera attached to your computer, you can just come on board. So I'm hopeful that that this is kind of fun to check it out and see if we can actually do this. I think hopefully, let's see, because I spelled it right that time. I'm pretty sure. So in any event, but while we're waiting for her to arrive, how long have you been working with hospice now?
About 8 years.
And obviously you love it.
I love it.
And what are a lot of people would go, yeah, but you're around people that are dying a lot. And then,
But they're alive. And if you're alive, I'm going to come to you in this place of presence and unconditional love, and we're going to have a good time.
That is an unusual way to look at it. So Jeannie, did that email come through for you? And we're waiting Jeannie to see if she's going to she may be working through the technology, but you have to admit Dana, the technology is pretty easy to work with.
It is. I was very pleased.
Yeah,
very pleased with how easy it was to do this.
So Jeannie, are you still there? I don't know. I don't know. Anyway, so hopefully she will either come on or she can chat as well. So because I wanted to ask you, in the world of hospice, you guys, the caregivers have to rely on each other to really help each other through some of the things, don't you?
Well, I have the utmost respect for the whole hospice staff. I get this easy little job of going in for a half hour or an hour and, to give comfort and relief. But it's the nurses and the social workers and all the other staff and then the caregivers that are in the home. They're the ones that just do so much work that they're the ones that really, really need to take care of themselves or get the help if they need it. That's for sure.
Yeah, I'm gonna try. Oh, I got it. Can I? Apparently, I cannot spell Jeannie. So, so GEAN.
It's J.
Oh, there it is. It's right there, right in front of my face. Yeah.
JEANNE.
Yeah, and it popped right up, and so now I'm sending it to you. You should get this one.
Third time's the charm.
I surely hope so. No, that did not show up either. Hold on, let me try one. Let's see. So Jeannie, GE. Okay, so that is, and that is pod. So let me do this. Copy and close that, and then I'm going to do email here, and now you're going to get this one, I promise you. I hope. And it should show up right quick. No, it did not. That doesn't register with. That's weird. Oh, all right, Jeannie. I'm sorry. I wanted to have you on, but let's chat. Let's chat, and we can talk about it that way. Unless you have another email address that would work.
While we're waiting for Jeannie, can I tell you about my idea?
Oh yes, please.
That I'm asking for anybody else who wants to join me in this. Kevin, you might want to join me. It's called the 300-year paradigm.
Ooh.
And so you know how most of us are kind of fit ourselves into a 100-year paradigm.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going for 300.
You want to live to be 300 years old? Is that?
Well, here's the thing. It's not necessarily about living to 300, but it's about expanding our mentality so that we're not thinking in terms of degeneration. We're thinking in terms of regeneration. It's just a way to, I like to play with ideas like that to expand our minds and our hearts so that we kind of push the envelope a little bit so that we can see how powerful we are and what we can do. And I think that if we had an idea like that and more of an expanding idea, I think people might care for themselves differently. They might, you know what I mean? Like I'm not thinking that I'm middle-aged. I'm thinking that I'm just getting started. And so it's not going to be in my mind that my knees are going to start to go in 2 years. You know what I mean? I'm going to be thinking of that. I think we are that powerful that we have a lot more say in our minds, our bodies, our spirits, our emotions, and we can manage them. We can learn to manage them so that life is easier, more fun. And if we're having more fun, we're going to want to live longer.
Oh, exactly. So, Jeannie, go ahead. Let's chat. And no, I agree with you. And well, see, if you reach the position that you want to live to be 300, you might not make it, but it would change your habits.
It would change your habits.
You would change what you do. It would change some of the destructive things that you do. At least you would bring them out and examine them, and then start to figure out how you could do it better. And getting, like, as an example, if somebody has chemical issues or something like that, they can figure out that they need help, and that they can get the help that they need so that they can live better.
Right. Yep.
And so I think that's a great idea. So we could set up, so you could sign up for, you could do this on Facebook. You could call it the 300 Club.
Yep.
And people that get on there, and you can share tips about not eating margarine and stuff like that. That always killed me. That it used to be that nobody wanted to eat butter, because butter was bad for you. And so have this thing here that we call margarine, and that's going to be better for you. And it turned out to be exactly the opposite. So, yep. But that's how that works, apparently. So we're waiting for Jeannie to she must be typing. So But so now you would do massage therapy for hospice. Do you do anything else with them, or do you sit and chat with them? Do you have I'm always curious by the end of life stories that come out about how they view things differently. The veil is thinner. They can see things from the other side. They have visitations from relatives. And have you experienced any of that?
I have a story that inspired me so much. I had talked to my sister about the veil, and of course, with me becoming more spiritual and doing work with hospice, I felt like the veil was becoming thinner, and to her it was like, no, not so much, until she was spending a lot of time with my mom, and my mom was going through, starting to go through the dying process.
Right.
And so she was there with her, and she noticed my mom looked like she was in great discomfort and pain. So she said, "Oh, Mom, I'm so sorry. I can tell you're having trouble. I'll go out and I'll get the nurse. I'll see if I can find somebody." So she went out to the hall, "Hey, we need help." As she goes back in to my mom, and she kind of cupped my mom's head in her hands, and she looked in. She said, "Mom, the nurse is on her way." And she said, my mom's face began to glow, and a smile came on her face, and her eyes were the most sparkly blue she'd ever seen. And she said, "Oh, honey, I'm in no pain." And my sister, I think that she knew that my mom was really in a different place. Like, what we see here isn't necessarily what is all encompassing. Like, we're just seeing sometimes just seeing the very outer surface and what's really real is the bigger picture of who we really are,
Oh, exactly. And by the way, Jeannie is when I was referred to Dana by my naturopathic physician, I was going through a lot of stress, and I experienced that stress through the physical symptoms, and Dana in essence gave me my power back. Does that ring a bell, Dana?
It does ring a bell.
And so how did you give her power back?
This is such a cool story, because I think when people they've got all this stuff going on, they don't know what to do. It's almost like it takes on a life of itself. So when your heart's racing and you think you're going to have a heart attack, you might be tempted to go to the hospital, right? Okay, she had tried that at least once or twice. We were pretty new in this process of meeting and working together for her benefit. And so she called me one day and she said, "Okay, it's happening again. I'm either going to go to the hospital or I'm going to come to you." And I said, "I cannot advise you what to do, but I'm here. I'm here if you want to, whatever you want to do, I'm here." So she ended up coming to me. And I think a lot of it has to do with helping someone understand how much they do have inside them that they don't even know they have. The capacity for calming down. One of my favorite quotes is, "Relief is the cure that all medicine is looking for." And so sometimes just being there for someone, telling them it's going to be okay, I'm here for you, just even starting with a little relief, relaxation, talking, all of a sudden I'm feeling better. My heart rate's now, it's not pounding so hard. It starts with simple little things. And giving someone their power back could just simply be encouraging them to get to know themselves better. So they know they have that power.
Well, now, did she came to you and she was having problems with the heart palpitations or whatever, but did they go away? Were you able to modify them?
They together, through working with this, gradually she started to understand that heart racing was probably when her energy came up, her body, her armor, it gets caught in the armor. She didn't know how to manage it. And so then the symptom gets worse. And guess what? When you're afraid you're going to have a heart attack, your symptoms increase.
Of course, because you're scared.
Because you're scared. So, I mean, she would even call me, like she called me one day at work. I think now that we're in this together, I don't think she's going to mind me telling you this story. She called me one day at work and she's like, I don't know what to do. And I said, okay, well, back to my Reiki and therapy days. I'm like, okay, are you feeling angry? Yes. Okay, good. So are you somewhere where you can express it? And she's like, well, I'm at work. I'm like, but nobody's here. I'm like, okay. So she was downstairs. I'm like, okay, stomp your feet. So she like stomping her feet. Okay, can you grab your any way we can express the emotions in a way that won't hurt us and won't hurt someone else? It's even just doing a little bit of that can give relief. And so little by little over a period of time, now when she feels her heart, she feels it as energy instead of, oh my God, something's wrong. And so it's like, okay, how can I manage this energy? Do I maybe go for a walk? Do I need to beat the punching bag? I have a punching bag because that's part of my therapy. If, when I don't know what to, it's managing those feelings, managing the emotions, understanding that anger doesn't have to be horrible if you know what to do with it. It can be something that gets you back to feeling good again.
Well, it's all part of the process, isn't it?
It is.
When you get angry, there's a reason why you got angry.
Right.
And if you suppress it, you're going to still be angry, but you're just going to have suppressed anger and it's got to go somewhere.
Right. And that is no joke because when you've got suppressed anger that turns into rage or resentment, then you're all over the news.
Oh, yeah, there's enough of that going on right now.
There's enough of that going on. So it's like, I would never tell someone, don't get angry. I would tell them, okay, you have anger. Let's see what can we do with it? How can you express it in a way that won't hurt anybody?
Right. And it's sometimes I get angry and sometimes then I laugh at myself because I'm angry. And I don't really need to be angry because there's nothing to be angry about. This is a magnificent journey that we're on. But sometimes you just you just gotta
get angry. Well, and how about fear? It's like, have you ever felt like so much excitement that it turns into fear?
Of course.
And then it's like, I'm absolutely terrified now, but I wasn't before. And why am I scared? Well, maybe it's because you didn't know how to manage the excitement.
Exactly. Well, you see, it's like if you're going to go speak in front of a large audience.
Mm-hmm.
In the beginning, you're excited because you get your message out. You get to have an opportunity to talk to people, and then this little thing comes in the back of your head and says, what if you suck?
And then you get scared.
Yes. What if nobody wants to listen to you? What if people start walking out on you? What if you have to go to the bathroom in the middle of it? What if all of these things that we self defeat ourselves by saying all of this stuff that could potentially happen. Then we get scared. Then we go, I don't think I want to do this anymore.
Right. It's horrible. Yeah.
It's a self-fulfilling prophecy.
It is. This is such a good conversation, because can you imagine how helpful it could be if we really got to understand self-sabotage and how to not do that?
Oh, self-sabotage is huge in
It's huge.
every aspect. I used to be a district sales manager for a food company, and I had 10 sales guys working for me. One of the jobs that they had to go do was they had to do what's called a cold call, where you walk into a restaurant that you don't know anybody, you've never been there before in your life, or you've been there as a customer, but now you're going in there and you got a business card, and you're going to go talk to the owner and or the chef or somebody because you want them to buy stuff from you. It takes a certain amount of courage and intestinal fortitude to go do that.
Right.
And I used to tell my guys, I said, look, here's the deal. If you're going to walk in there with fear in your eyes, don't walk in there. You have to go in there with confidence. You got to know that what you're doing is right, that you feel good about it, that you feel good about how you want to, and if you feel good about it, you have an opportunity for success.
Yes.
If you feel like you don't have any success, I have to go in here because my boss says I have to go in here and do a I'm just not going to judge. I hate this. I'm not going to make it work. It's going to be terrible. I'm just not going to like. You're going to fail. And I used to say, if that's going to be your mindset, go home. I don't need you.
Yep.
So what you're saying is absolutely true, and it's about taking care of yourself.
Yes.
And being positive and taking care of what you believe and what you need.
Yes.
And you can get information about that by getting the book Doing the Thing, and Dana, there you go.
There you go. There it is.
And if they want to go to your website, what's your website again?
It is doingthething.com.
Very good. Very good. Doingthething.com, and you can pick up the book or go to Amazon and pick up the book. When my website gets up, I'm going to put it on there so that you can go there and then go to Amazon anyway and all that stuff. But Dana, it's been a real pleasure having you on the show today.
Kevin, thank you so much. I've enjoyed it immensely.
And Jeannie, thank you for participating with us today. It's been great fun. And you're going to come back, and because I'm going to have you on KKNW at the end of July, and we're going to do more stuff together because I think you're pretty cool. Quite frankly.
And the feeling's mutual. I can't wait.
That's I thank you for that. So, Dana Quade. No, Quade. God,
Yes. Kevin, can I ask you one favor? You don't have to do it, but if it's easy, can you play one of my favorite songs to end this?
Which is?
Do you remember anything from AC/DC?
Oh. Okay. Can I tell this? Well, actually, yeah, I'll give it a shot and see what happens.
Okay.
Because I put up a piece by Paul McCartney, and YouTube shut me down.
Okay, never mind.
But anyway, we're both huge AC/DC fans. And now next time you're on, I'll take the risk and we'll tell the story of when I was a DJ in the Sunday morning. I thought that was kind of funny.
That was kind of funny.
Yes, indeed. So. But now I can play. Let's see. Well, no, I better not.
Okay.
But
it's not. We won't get you in trouble.
Although I've got some others. Well, never mind. You wouldn't know them. But it's been a pleasure, Dana, and Dana Quade's been our guest. Go get the book, or go to the website doingtherightthing.com.
Doingthething.com.
Doingthething.com. Don't go to do the right thing because that's the wrong thing. You don't want to do the wrong thing. You do want to do the thing. Doingthething.com. So, again, Dana, thank you. You stay right there, and I'll be right back.
Thanks.
Hey, and thanks for listening to this episode all the way to the end. Hey, pretty cool. Hey, don't forget to follow us so you can receive regular updates and new posts. And remember, take care of each other because Each other's all we've got. See you next time on My Independence Report.